Hi, baby. There she goes. What's going down, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Holmes Hobbies Motor Control. It's your boy Josh, aka Coleman. And chill episode today, man. Really chill episode. I'm sick right now. I don't know if it's allergies or what, but my wife has been sick for the last few days, which appeared to be allergies brought on by the smoke from the forest fires around here right now. And then I woke up this morning feeling like crap, man. I feel like somebody hit me with the truck, so B's trying to get me. I'm not feeling so hot right now. I was gonna go out trailing and shoot some cool video of some of the Jeeps driving, but nah, man, not today. I don't want to half-ass it. And then I was gonna do a little wrenching on the bench, but it's just, I don't know, man. I'm just not feeling it. So I decided what we could do instead is do a little educational video, and we can just talk about some gearing issues and some of the things that I do to attack the gearing on these trucks. It's well, and it kind of ties in with motor selection too. It's basically what I want to talk about is why I pick the motors I pick, and why I pick the gearing I pick, and why I build the way I build around these motors. So basically, this is gonna have to flash back, and I'm sorry for you guys that are tuning in wanting some action or some wrenching today. It's just talking today, but basically you got to flash back. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I got to flash back to when I used to do a lot of one wheeling, and I'm getting back into it now, but I took a big break for a long time. I didn't do any real wheeling, but back when I did a lot more, you know, there's a few things that just everyone picks up on when you go out, not just rock crawling, but just trail riding in general. You have to learn how to work your vehicle. You have to learn to understand the weight transfer of the vehicle. You have to learn to feel the movement that's happening with the vehicle, know when your tires are touching something, know what your tires are doing without being able to see them. You have to feel it through the steering wheel, through the feedback of the vehicle, through the pedals. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. Just like with racing or anything else, you know, any form of performance driving, you really have to know the vehicle. And I'm not talking about mechanically how it works, but, well, that's important as well, but I'm talking about knowing the feel of the vehicle, knowing the behavior of the vehicle, what the vehicle is going to do in any given moment. So for me personally, you know, some things that really stuck with me is obviously low speed, and it's not just low speed. There's times where you need momentum too. So low speed, momentum, traction, weight, wheel and tire placement, gear ratios, wheel and tire size, breakover, exit and entry angles. What else? I mean, there's just a lot that goes into it. The track width, your steering radius, like there's so much that goes into it. Now, as you become more and more familiar with those things, those characteristics on your vehicle, your skill set will increase, and you will start to realize that you have a certain style, a certain driving style, a certain you know, style to your building or your wheeling or whatever. You'll just start to develop your own character, your own personality in driving. So I don't know if that makes sense. But man, I'm trying so hard not to like cough and sneeze and stuff right now. So basically, for me personally, I realized, okay, so it's like a ballet. It's like drifting, you know. In drifting, you have to understand the weight transfer of the vehicle. You have to understand your momentum and how far it's going to carry you. You have to understand your traction braking points, you know, the traction limits. You have to understand, you know, the diameter of your vehicle. You know, where is your bumpers at all time? You have to understand where they're at. And so when my wife drives her truck, this big old truck over there, that box van, I always tell her the same thing: all four corners, top and bottom. You know, that's like my saying. You know, anytime you're going to drive a vehicle, the first thing I always tell people: all four corners, top and bottom. Understand your vehicle, understand what you're doing, what you're in, understand the weight of it, how dangerous it is, what happens if you mess up. You know, there's a lot that you need to understand. And for me, all of that transfers into how I'm going to build an RC. When I build an RC, my goal is to replicate real life. So therefore, when I'm building a trail rig, it doesn't always need to be a rock crawler, but it probably needs some rock crawling capabilities, which means I need the ability to go extremely slow. I need extremely smooth startup at an extremely low RPM. I need a ton of torque with very little throttle input. That's important to me. Now, most motors nowadays, you know, do a pretty good job of it. Holmes Hobbies has gone above and beyond to bring the startup smoothness to a whole nother level, and the startup torque it's at a whole nother level. So I'm happy with that. I've been very happy with it, but then I'm always looking for more. I'm always looking for that next step. So for me, the next step was gearing. So I geared my stuff down low. You guys have all seen, you've all heard the yellow Jeep driving, you know. It is extremely low geared, and it is also extremely heavy. Now, because it's extremely heavy, and because it's low geared, it kind of offsets the weight strain on the motor. Now, most of the time, as you add weight, you're going to strain out your motor. Your motor's going to run at a hotter temperature. Well, by gearing down, you can maintain a cooler temperature and run basically different gearing, higher RPM out of the motor. So higher RPM through your gearing, which will, I don't know how to explain that. I'm kind of stumbling on myself. Basically, you know, I can run a higher kV motor now through an extremely low geared setup and still come out right in the middle. So because I like to run, like for instance, right now my favorite setup is a 3300 kV Puller Pro through a 10-to-1 Team Rafi gear reduction unit, tied into and this direct drive ESP anti-spur setup to a axial SDX10 AX10 transmission with no spur gear. So I don't know what that ratio winds up being, but it's extremely low geared. So if I were to run a 3S pack like anybody else through that 3300 kV motor, I'm literally going to run about half the speed that they're going to run. Now, in order to make up for that, I up my voltage. So the classic Holmes Hobby scenario, gear down, volt up, which is exactly what I do. I gear extremely low, and then I volt up really high. So now I'm running 4S, which is 14.4 volts or whatever. Actually, more like 15 point something fully charged. And I have the same speed that I would get from, I don't know, like maybe a stock transmission SCX10 geared down to like a 1390, you know, or like a 1287 maybe, or something like that. So somewhere around that same speed, wheel speed, but twice as much torque, right? So it's really enjoyable for me. I can still cruise along faster than walking speed when I need to, but when I want that actual performance, the slow controlled performance, it's all there for me. I don't have to worry about downshifting. I don't have to worry about, you know, overheating my motor from crawling and putting too much heat through it. So I mean, there's a lot of benefits to gearing down. Now, the disadvantage is going to be, obviously, you're going to lose that top end wheel speed. You're also going to lose runtime. That's something a lot of people don't think about. If you're running, you know, all that gear reduction, your motor's actually spinning at a higher RPM, so you're having to put more throttle input in to get the same amount of turn out of the wheels, right? So most people, they may squeeze a quarter of a turn to do their crawling. I might squeeze half a turn, you know, a quarter of a squeeze, I guess, on the trigger is what I'm saying. Whereas I might squeeze a half a squeeze, maybe even 3/4 of a squeeze while I'm crawling. So and because I dial in my throttle curves, I never use full throttle until the very end anyway. So it's a tuning preference for me. It's what I enjoy. And if you guys are wondering how I get the behavior I get out of my vehicles, that's how I do it. It's all tons of low unsprung weight, as much as I can, to offset the sprung weight, because, you know, the sprung weight's usually pretty high in my builds. So I do tons of low unsprung weight. Yes, I do weight my wheels. I weight them a lot, actually. And no, it does not hurt my transmissions. No, it doesn't hurt my axles or anything like that, like everyone seems to think it does. I've been running some of the same axle shafts in the yellow Jeep for like 5 years now, and still haven't broke them. So, I mean, you know, call it for what it is, to each their own. But for me, my nose is running, I'm gonna have to get off here soon. For me, that is what's important. I want low speed control with walking speed capabilities. You know, if I'm G6ing or I'm out on a trail run with all the guys or something. So anyways, you guys, I can't breathe right now. I hope that helps somebody out. I really want to drop some information on that, because I get asked all the time about my ESP anti-spur setup, how I get the gearing I get, where do I get the torque from, how do I get the wheel speed out of some of them. You know, it all depends on each build. I mean, some of them I don't gear down. My Wraith isn't geared down that much, but, you know, then you look at some of the other ones, they're geared to the moon. I mean, you can run a 3300 kV and out slow crawl something that's like a 55 turn brush motor, which is phenomenal. Like, that is phenomenal performance for me. Now, it's slow performance as opposed to, you know, high speed performance, but that can easily be changed with gearing. So anyways, you guys, I'll sit here and talk forever about RC gearing. I enjoy it. But that's how I get the slow wheel speed out of a 3300 kV Puller Pro. So yeah, hope that helps somebody out there. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'm sorry I didn't take you guys trailing or onto the workbench today, but I am not feeling it right now. So I'm gonna go blow my nose and drink some more water and take some more something, I don't know, like Benadryl or something. You guys, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe, and you know what it is. I'm gonna see you out on trails. Whew. Piece of chin grease. Yeah, yeah.